Michael, we've been having a conversation since last night
Right.
about worship.
Yeah.
You are Ugandan,
Yeah.
I'm American.
Yeah.
And when we got together to start having these cross-cultural conversations,
Right.
we came up with a list of topics that we
Right.
thought would be essential to address
Yeah.
in these conversations. And worship was one of the ones that we came up with.
Yes.
Now, as an American Christian, when you wrote down the word worship, my mind went to Sunday morning worship service.
Right.
So
Right.
I started thinking
Church.
about Pentecost. I started thinking about speaking in different languages and how we all worship differently. But even though we worship differently, we're united in the body of Christ. So when I go to Russia, I feel like I'm still at home with a body of believers and worshiping, and how freeing that is of how in awe of God I am in those experiences.
Right.
But you, however, had a totally different idea of what worship is.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree that worship happens in a local setting. For example, the 2 hours or 1 hour of service. In the case of service in certain parts in Uganda or in Africa, they go on for even more than 2 hours. So I agree that there's a form of worship. There's a type of worship that happens there. But I also overall my worldview towards worship comes from Romans 12, which says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies." So there's a way in which worship, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. There's a way in which worship is not just relegated to a time and place only, even though that it happens there, but it's a mandate over my body, 24/7, 7 days a week, 360 days a year. Only to begin over that this happens within my physical body, my spiritual nature and social nature. And so whatever impacts me there is a matter of worship. How I treat my friends, how I treat my spouse, how I treat my daughter, how I treat my family. And the way in which that happens is that hopefully I'm in a posture of worship to God, where I'm holding all my life and all that my life is about towards God. The picture is a life on the altar and given to God, and that plays into partnerships as well. That I will be found loving, patient, kind, long-suffering. All this is really the fruit of the Spirit. So that's all worship, I believe, and it's both spiritual and it happens at the social level as well.
And what I love about that is that you tie it together, meaning that worship is essential to partnership, not Sunday morning worship
Right.
as we might think about it,
Right.
but worship as a lifestyle
Absolutely.
is essential to faithful friendship and interdependent partnership.
Well said.